What's up, guys? I just did my first third of 2024 horror list. Now we're gonna do my non-horror list. Anyway, looking forward to this. Let's go. What's up, guys? Welcome to the first third. This is the first third of 2024. I'm gonna do the second third and the last third. But basically the clip notes of this is I'm breaking this up into 4-month sections, January to April, and I'm gonna just rank the movies that I've seen. Today we're gonna do non-horror. I just put out my horror list. I ranked 14 movies there. And we're gonna do this every 4 months, and I will not repeat the same movies in each countdown. Plus, at the end of every year, there are a lot of movies that go unmentioned, I guess, and I think this is a way to kind of rack and stack everything as I go throughout the year, all right? And I'm giving you more produced rankings, all right? I promise you that, and here we go. So anyway, again, this is non-horror. There are a couple on here that you might consider horror. We'll talk about those when we get to those, all right? Got 10 movies for you, ranking worst to best, okay? So let's go with number 10. That is going to be Rebel Moon, The Scargiver, Part 2. Whoa, this was complete crap. This is one of those movies, like, the more I let it settle, the angrier I get. How could a Zack Snyder movie be this bad? And I know some people don't like Zack Snyder. I'm a Zack Snyder fan. I like 90% of his movies, all right? Love quite a few of them, actually. But this movie was even worse than the last Rebel Moon movie. It's actually boring. It is a wheat love fest, which makes no sense. And I think the editing choices, the slow motion choices in this movie are laughable and questionable, and what the hell were they thinking? But at the end of the day, too, guys, the characters are just uninteresting in this. They're kind of horrible, actually. And I don't even know how a director's cut could make this thing any better. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna give it a chance. I like being shocked. We shall see. But as it stands right now, this is easily the worst movie of the year. And as a matter of fact, I'll even tell you right now, it's the worst non-horror and horror movie on my Letterboxd list. Follow me on Letterboxd because that's where I keep track of all this stuff. Okay, so if you want to cheat, you can do that. But don't do it until after this video, though, right? I want you guys to be surprised, right? So anyway, number 9 is Madam Web, and boy, did I have a tough time picking between Madam Web and Rebel Moon. But Madam Web, at least I can have fun laughing at it, and it's not painful to get through for the most part. You know, just because some of the script choices in this movie are just so hilarious. Dakota Johnson looks like she is lost throughout this. Like, what the hell am I doing here? And the villain might be the worst villain in the entire Marvel universe. There's got to be a worse one than him, right? Like, I can't. His costume looks kind of cool, I guess, but wow, just a really, really bad villain. False advertising too. You're advertising that these female heroines are going to come together. And no, that's not in here. That's in here in like a flashback or something like that. This movie, it's kind of crazy how bad this movie, like, it's impressively bad, okay? And that gets it above Rebel Moon. Number 8 is Roadhouse. And I know some of you are going to be like, what the hell's wrong with you? Roadhouse was awesome. And some of you will agree with me. You know, I think this is one of those movies that kind of splits the audience. I love the original, and I had a hard time not comparing this to the original, but really, if I ignore the original, Jake Gyllenhaal looks like he's bored out of his mind in this movie. I think the fight choreography is really cool, but the plot is really thin. I don't think there's enough charm in the bar scenes like there were in the original. The band sucks, and Conor McGregor, wow, like, this was a really poor performance as a villain. And I mean, he's given it his all, but I think this is this year's John Travolta in the Fanatic performance. That's what he's like in this. Number 7, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. This movie was just a huge letdown, but to be fair, I'm not the biggest fan of any of these new Ghostbusters movies starting with 2016. I'd even say this is probably on par with, maybe a little better than 2016. I think this is really just fan service, if I'm being honest. I think this movie is highly forgettable. I even kind of feel like they wasted Paul Rudd in this. I think there's way too many characters. The little girl is my favorite character, but even what they were doing with her and this ghost character was kind of silly and stupid. So yeah, I didn't like Frozen Empire at all. Number 6 is Beekeeper, and this is where we're getting into the good. This movie was actually really fun, but more importantly, it surprised the hell out of me. I went into this rolling my eyes thinking it was gonna be pretty bad because let's face it, Jason Statham, he's hit and miss. He's done some bad movies. I mean, Expendables 4 is like the worst movie of last year. So after that, he's got nowhere to go but up, but I think he went really up in this movie, and I think it's more stripped down and small scale. The action is lean and mean and very well choreographed. It's got some cool visuals in there. And I like the characters in The Beekeeper, you know. So if you want a fun action movie, ignore Roadhouse, watch The Beekeeper this year. So far, that's the movie to beat action-wise, I think. Number 5, Godzilla X Kong. Another one that surprised me. You know, the trailer looked really silly, really silly. And yeah, it is really silly at times, but I mean, if you want big monster action that delivers on that promise, then this movie does that. And there are some really awesome Kong scenes. I'm a Kong guy, love Godzilla, but man, I really love King Kong. And boy, does he shine in this. I'd even say Godzilla takes a backseat, but Kong is so fun. And really the last act, I loved the Scar King too. We had the Scar Giver and the Scar King. Go with the Scar King, you'll fare better. But yeah, Godzilla X Kong was fun. And you know what? I went back after watching this and watched all the other MonsterVerse movies, and I'm liking where this is going. You know, I have a good time. I think they're far better than like what the Transformers movies did. I think there's not like a sharp drop in quality like I expected. So number 4, Monkey Man, and man, I have to give Dev Patel a lot of credit because you can see the blood, sweat, and tears that he put into this. I don't think there's enough fighting. And I think it does get a little weird in the middle of the movie, but you can't help but acknowledge the direction, the fight choreography, and just the heart and soul that Dev Patel puts into this. And it was so interesting to watch that I would actually appreciate a sequel. Really diving into, like, I guess, the Indian culture as well, just a straight up Indian culture type action movie was really great. I think Sharlto Copley was a little wasted, you know? But other than that, I think Dev Patel is awesome in this. And I actually liked a lot of the characters. Some questionable decisions along the way too, like the training that he does that just comes out of nowhere to a percussionist. That was kind of some weird stuff, but I'll give it a pass. It was still really fun. Number 3, Mean Girls. And now, like Roadhouse, some of you are gonna flip Roadhouse and Mean Girls, and that's fine, but you know what? I had a blast with Mean Girls. I didn't really remember the original that much, even though I've seen it a couple of times. It's good. I really enjoyed that they said, hey, let's make this one a musical, since the first one wasn't a musical. And I was tapping my feet. I was having a really good time. I loved the Halloween party scene in the movie, but at the end of the day, the songs were really fun. It's nice to have a good, like, pop music, musical type movie, and this was fun. I really enjoyed Mean Girls. And I think the main Mean Girls really steals the show too. Number 2, Civil War. Number 2 and 1 are phenomenal movies, okay? Civil War, phenomenal. Loved this movie. I knew that there would be some political strife about this, even though the movie kind of goes down the middle. It doesn't really pick a side. It's really just more of a road trip type movie with these press photographers. And you're really just looking more into like the human condition and empathy and war and just the fog of war, the ugliness of it. But man, the sound design in this movie is incredible. And I always love Alex Garland, how he kind of asks questions instead of giving answers in his movies. And he lets the audience kind of, I guess, take what they want from the movie. And this was that movie for me. I enjoyed the hell out of Civil War. And then number 1 is Dune Part 2. And don't worry guys, at the end of the year, after I do the final third of the year, I'll still do a full-on top 10 of the entire year. And this movie, I'm betting right now it'll still be tough to beat, you know, after all said and done throughout this year. Dune Part 2 is epic in every sense of the word. The performances by Timothée Chalamet, Austin Butler, and I mean, it's just a star-studded cast. But incredible performances, especially by those first 2 that I mentioned. Timothée Chalamet really goes to another level compared to the first movie in this one, because he has to be, you know, take on this more of a leadership type role, and I think he really, really earns it. And it's just captivating. This movie's just beautiful. The scale is insane. Denis Villeneuve's direction. He is probably the best director working today. One of the best directors working today. So this movie was so good that they've already greenlit the third movie. So I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah. So anyway, guys, that's my top 10 of the first third of 2024 ranked for you guys. Let me know down in the comments. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of movies that I haven't seen. Some of you haven't seen these 10 movies that I've listed. I don't watch everything. So looking forward to seeing your list down below. All right. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day, and on Fridays we do Free for Fridays. Follow my Drumdums on my socials. Support me on Patreon. Buy me a coffee. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Drumdum out.